Okay, so I want you to picture this. It's Sunday afternoon, the sun's out, or maybe it's raining, which, let's be honest, is even better. You've got that pile of laundry on the chair, you know the one. It's starting to look like a science experiment. You've got that spreadsheet you swore you'd finish, but where are you? You're 3 hours deep in a video game trying to beat some impossible boss for the 50th time.
And you're telling yourself, just one more try. Just one more.
Exactly, but there's that other voice in your head too, isn't there? The nagging one that's saying you are wasting your time. This is the opposite of productive. It's the gamer guilt.
It's a real thing. I mean, we live in a culture that's just obsessed with productivity, with optimization. If an activity isn't making you better or richer, it still is a failure.
Right. But today, we're going to push back on that voice. We're going to see if that guilt is maybe, just maybe, based on a lie. We're doing a deep dive into some really fascinating research that asks a huge question. Is playing for fun a waste of time? Or is something else, something productive, happening?
It's such a great question. And for our source material, we're diving into an academic paper called Le jeu non sérieux, une activité improductive, which translates to is non-serious play, an unproductive activity. It's by Julian Alvarez, Aurélien Livesard, and Sylvain Hautegont.
I'm not going to lie, my personal mission today is pretty selfish. I am looking for scientific validation for my Mario Kart habit. I want to be told that I'm basically training to be a Formula One driver.
I love that. And you might actually get some of that validation, but maybe not the way you're expecting. It's not as simple as games or work.
Yeah.
The paper sort of forces us to completely rethink what work and play even mean.
I'll take it. But okay, before we get to the good news for gamers, we have to understand the case against us. Why do we even think play is a waste of time? Where does that idea come from?
It really comes from this long-running conflict of definitions, specifically around something called serious games.
Serious games. It's always sounded like an oxymoron to me, like military intelligence or jumbo shrimp.
It does, but it's a huge field. And the standard definition, which is usually credited to Michael and Chen from back in 2005, is pretty clear. A serious game is a game where the main goal is not pure entertainment.
Okay, so these are the games your HR department forces on you for training, or those old math games from school.
Exactly. A key thinker in this space, Etienne Armand D'Amato, calls them utilitarian video games. The whole idea is that serious just means productive. The game exists to do something to you, to teach you a skill, treat a phobia, train you for a job.
Which implies that if a game is just for fun, if it's Call of Duty or Zelda, then it is by definition not productive. It's useless.
That is the traditional view, and it goes back way, way before video games. We have to talk about the sociologist Roger Caillois.
I know the name. Remind me.
He's basically the godfather of game studies. He wrote this hugely influential book back in 1958, and he laid out these foundational rules for what play is. And his biggest, most famous rule was that play is fundamentally unproductive.
Unproductive how? Like economically?
Economically and materially, yes. Caillois' argument was that play creates no wealth. It creates no goods. At the end of the game, the world is exactly the same as it was when you started.
That's pretty harsh.
He was very clear about it. He said that unless you're gambling where money just changes hands within the game, nothing new is created. It's a closed loop.
Yeah.
You burn energy, but you make nothing.
I mean, I guess I can see the logic. If I spend 100 hours building an amazing base in Minecraft and then I turn off the console, that base doesn't actually exist. I can't live in it. I haven't produced a real house.
Exactly. According to Caillois, you've just been passing time in a very elaborate way. So you have this huge tension. You've got Amato saying games can be productive, but only if they're serious. And you've got Caillois saying play is always unproductive.
See, where does that leave the millions of us playing games just because they're fun? Are we just burning daylight? It feels like I'm doing something.
And this is where the paper we're looking at makes its big move. The authors say we're all stuck because we're looking at the wrong thing. We're so focused on the game itself, the software, the developer's intention. They argue we need to stop looking at the object and start looking at the person playing it.
This is the artifact versus activity idea. This felt like the real breakthrough moment for me in the paper.
It's the aha moment. They draw a line between the artifact, the actual game, the thing you buy, and the activity, what you, the player, actually do with it. And their point is that those two things can be completely different.
So developer can make a serious game, but I can just mess around with it and make it non-serious.
Or, and this is the really interesting part, the other way around. They give this amazing example of a game called September 12th.
Right. I looked this up. It's a news game, a political commentary.
Exactly. It's a commentary on the war on terror. The whole point of the game is to show that violence creates more violence. You try to shoot terrorists, but you inevitably hit civilians, and then those civilians' families become terrorists. The artifact is deeply serious.
It's a political statement in the form of a game?
It is. But the paper talks about an experiment where they watched 2 kids play it. These kids had no idea about the political context. They didn't read the designer's statement. They just saw a screen where you could click and make things explode.
Uh-oh. I think I know where this is going.
They weren't pondering the geopolitical ramifications, were they?
Not at all. They completely ignored the serious message and just started competing to see who could blow up the most buildings. They turned a serious artifact into a completely non-serious activity.
So what was on the box didn't matter. The intended lesson was totally lost because the players just wanted to have fun.
Exactly. But it works in reverse, too, and this is where it gets really powerful. It's a concept they call serious diverting. You can take a game that was made purely for fun and divert it for a serious purpose. And the example for this was the teacher who used SimCity, right? Yvan Hoche.
Yes. Now, SimCity 2000 was not designed to be an educational tool. It was a commercial entertainment product, a non-serious artifact. But this teacher, Hoche, brought it into his classroom to teach geography and urban planning.
He made the game serious.
He made the activity serious. The students had to build their cities according to actual geographical principles they were learning. So a game that Kaiwa would have called a waste of time suddenly becomes a productive learning tool.
Wow. That just totally pulls the rug out from under Kawa's argument, doesn't it? Because the play is producing something. It's producing knowledge.
That's the huge shift. If we stop defining production as making a physical chair and start including producing new pathways in your brain, the whole picture changes. Productivity can be cognitive.
Okay, so let's go there, because this is the big leap. The paper isn't just saying a teacher can make a game useful. It's saying that even when I'm alone playing something like Lego Batman, I am still being productive. That's a harder sell.
It sounds like it until you actually break down what your brain has to do to play that game.
I feel like my brain is just thinking about punching little Lego bad guys.
But to do that, you're using a whole suite of skills. The researchers bring in this tool called the EZAR system. It's basically a way to analyze what cognitive functions a game demands. They applied it to Lego Batman.
And what did they find? Besides a demand for justice in Gotham.
They found that to even play the game, you are constantly performing spatial differentiation. You have to navigate a 3D world. You're using intuitive reasoning to solve puzzles without being given explicit instructions. You're decoding visual messages, like knowing that a pile of bouncing Lego bricks means you can build something there.
So you're saying I couldn't even beat the level if I didn't have those skills?
Exactly. And because you want to win, because it's fun, you are practicing and strengthening those skills over and over. You're exercising those cognitive muscles. The argument is simple. If a game requires a skill to win, then playing the game trains that skill.
That's like the wax on, wax off scene from The Karate Kid. You think you're just polishing a car, but you're secretly learning martial arts. You think you're just being Batman, but you're learning spatial reasoning.
It's a perfect analogy. It's learning by doing in the most engaging way possible. And we don't have to just take their word for it. There's hard science to back this up.
Right. The study about video games and vision. Green and Bevelet.
Yes, this was a landmark study published in the journal Nature. For decades, our parents told us that staring at screens would ruin our eyes.
Oh, yeah. All the time.
Well, these researchers took a group of non-gamers and had them play the action game Medal of Honor for just 10 hours.
And that's a really visually chaotic game. You're constantly scanning, looking for threats, reacting in fractions of a second.
A very high visual load. And the result? After only 10 hours, those players showed significant measurable improvements in their visual attention and processing skills compared to the control group. Their eyesight, in a functional sense, got better.
So the non-serious act of playing a game produced a serious biological improvement.
Yes, it just shatters the unproductive label. But if you want the real showstopper, we have to talk about the cognitive aging study by Perot and Maillat from 2014.
Okay, this is the big one. This is the showdown. In one corner, you have Dr. Kawashima's brain training.
The quintessential serious game designed by neuroscientists to keep your brain sharp.
And in the other corner,
The original Super Mario Bros. From 1985, a game about a plumber jumping on turtles.
And which one provided a greater cognitive benefit for older adults?
Super Mario Bros.
Get out of here. You are telling me that Mario is better for your brain than a game literally called brain training.
The study found it provided a greater cognitive benefit. Yeah.
Oh, how is that even possible? Brain training is just mental math and memory puzzles.
And that's the key. It's drills. It's repetitive.
Right.
Once your brain figures out the pattern, it becomes efficient. It goes on autopilot. But Mario,
Mario is chaos.
it's chaos. It requires what some experts call abductive reasoning. It's the logic of discovery. You're dropped into a level and you don't know the rules. You have to form a hypothesis. Can I jump on that enemy? Test it, fail, and adapt instantly. You're constantly managing uncertainty.
Right, you're finding secrets, you're learning enemy patterns, you're timing these impossible jumps.
And you're dealing with serendipity, finding things you weren't even looking for. That constant need to adapt and problem solve in a complex, unpredictable environment is a much more powerful workout for the brain than just doing simple math problems over and over.
That's a huge insight that maybe messy and unpredictable is actually better for learning than structured and clear.
It seems so. Complexity is what forces the brain to grow. Fun might just be our brain's reward system for tackling a satisfyingly complex problem.
Okay, so this all feels too good to be true. Does this mean I can tell my boss I'm playing Call of Duty to improve my abductive reasoning? I feel like there has to be a catch.
There is always a catch. The authors are very clear about this. They don't want to be what they call techno-evangelists. If you're going to talk about productivity like it's a balance sheet, you have to count the gains, but you also have to count the deficits.
The negatives. Right. What does a deficit look like?
Well, the most extreme example is what the philosopher Jeremy Bentham called paradoxical play.
That sounds bad.
It is. It's play where the potential loss is so catastrophic it's irrational. The classic example is Russian roulette. It's a game, it has rules, but the deficit is, well, death.
Okay, thankfully video games rarely have that kind of deficit.
True, but there are others. Think about misinformation. A serious game that's designed to teach history could actually just be propaganda. You could play it and come away less knowledgeable. That's a cognitive deficit.
Or just addiction. If I play World of Warcraft so much that I lose my job, the game might be building some teamwork skills, but the deficit to my actual life is enormous.
Precisely. You have to weigh it all. The paper's point isn't that play is good. It's that play is an activity that produces a mix of gains and deficits, and we need to look at the whole picture.
So to bring it full circle to that Sunday afternoon guilt, the final verdict is that Kiowa was just wrong. Play is not inherently a waste of time.
He was too categorical. He was looking for a physical product. But in our world, the product is often a skill. It's adaptability. It's problem solving. And games are factories for those things.
It almost makes the distinction between serious and non-serious games completely meaningless.
It really does. It all just comes down to the activity. Is the player engaged? Are they solving problems? If so, then learning and production are happening, whether the game developer planned for it or not.
That's incredibly empowering. It puts the player in control. I get to decide if a game is productive by how I engage with it.
Exactly. The value isn't just in the code. It's in the interaction between you and the code.
It really makes me wonder about the future of education. You know, if Super Mario beats brain training, are we just doing school all wrong?
That is the provocative thought I was left with. Are we entering an era where the most powerful learning happens when we're not even trying to learn, when we're just having fun?
She's self-learning.
Maybe instead of trying to gamify boring school tasks with points and badges, we should be looking at the complex learning that's already happening in the games people choose to play for hundreds of hours.
Maybe the best classroom is just a well-designed open-world game.
It's a fascinating possibility.
Well, on that note, I think I have some abductive reasoning to go practice. I have a boss fight that requires some serious hypothesis testing.
Just remember to check your balance sheet.
I will. And for all of you listening, the next time you pick up that controller, don't feel guilty. Just play seriously. We'll see you for the next Duke Dive.